Dick Grayson is not a good Batman. Or is he? To find out, we have to check out Prodigal, the story where Dick Grayson becomes Batman for the first time. Well, maybe not the first time. Before Prodigal, Dick Grayson wore the mantle of the Bat on a few stories, but only as a decoy or in imaginary tales. Prodigal was the first time he actually became Batman. But was he a good Batman? In 1994, the Batman comics had just finished Knightfall. Bruce Wayne had returned from having his back broken by Bane, and he defeated Azrael to take back the mantle of the Bat. Bruce Wayne was back, but not for long. During the Zero-Hour crossover, Bruce decided he needed time away from Gotham before actually coming back, and this time he chose Dick Grayson to be Batman in his absence. This is Prodigal, a 12-chapter story that shows us the kind of Batman that Dick Grayson, the original Robin, can be. The story begins in Batman number 512, where Bruce Wayne makes a dramatic exit without looking back, leaving Dick and Tim to take care of Gotham. The two of them waste no time, and on their first mission, they confront a vicious Killer Croc. Even though they are successful in stopping Croc, Dick Grayson has serious doubts about his capabilities, making it clear from the very first issue that he is going through imposter syndrome. Bruce is confident that Dick is more than capable for the job, and Tim Drake has a great admiration for Dick's history as Robin and Nightwing. But Dick Grayson himself is not so sure he deserves all that trust and confidence. His previous failures weighed a lot more than his achievements, and he is now constantly worrying that he will mess up as Batman. Dick feels he doesn't deserve to wear the cape and cowl, and things get only worse when Commissioner Gordon sees right through him and realizes he is yet a different Batman on his very first night. Losing Gordon's trust doesn't help Dick at all, making his self-doubt that much stronger. Dick is unable to see that he is actually better than Bruce in some areas. For instance, Dick Grayson is able to cook a proper dinner, something that Bruce Wayne never learned. And these small details will show up throughout the storyline, making it clear that Dick Grayson has learned many skills that Bruce didn't teach him. It is also important to notice that from the very first issue, Dick Grayson refers to Bruce as Dad, something that will come into play by the end of the story. Prodigal continues in Shadow of the Bat number 32, where Dick Grayson confronts the Ventriloquist and Scarface for the first time. This confrontation with the Ventriloquist made Dick realize how some things need duality to work. Scarface needs the Ventriloquist, Batman needs Robin, and Harvey Dent needs Two-Face. Dick's victory over the Ventriloquist boosts his confidence, but in the back of his mind, his first failure against Two-Face still haunts him. And to make matters worse, Two-Face is released from prison as a result of a glitch in the system and a case of mistaken identity. The next chapter in Prodigal is Detective Comics 679, where the Ratcatcher escapes and Dick Grayson works solo to stop him. The way Dick Grayson handles Croc, the Ventriloquist, and the Ratcatcher is such a stark contrast to Azrael, with a lot of emphasis on detective work and using violence only as a last resort. Dick Grayson honors the mantle of the Bat by following clues, investigating, planning before acting, and saving lives as his top priority. However, Dick still has to deal with the existential struggle of following his father's footsteps and his insecurity of not being good enough as he was. This struggle is best shown during his interactions with Commissioner Gordon, who treats him coldly and without trust. Dick tries to tell him that things shouldn't be different between them, but Gordon won't listen. Gordon thinks this is a completely different person, the third Batman in a short time. Maybe Dick should have revealed the truth. Maybe give him a hint about the fact that he is not exactly a stranger and that they already know each other. The burden of being a good Batman is too much for Dick, and his biggest challenge happens in Robin number 11, when Two-Face finally makes his move. Dick has to put his fears aside and confront Two-Face, but because he is extremely cautious, he allows the criminal to escape. Failing to stop Two-Face intensifies Dick's self-doubts and anxiety, because now he knows that Two-Face will continue with his master plan. In Batman number 513, Two-Face hacks into the police records and creates a city-wide shutdown of all the digital systems, which creates total chaos across Gotham. When the news about this chaos reached Dick Grayson, he is doing the laundry at Wayne Manor, another example of how he is better than Bruce in some areas. Dick Grayson can work as a normal, functional person who can cook, clean and do chores, but maybe that's why he doesn't feel he is a good Batman, because, after all, he has a life outside of crime fighting. In any case, Two-Face has created total chaos and things go out of control. In Shadow of the Bat number 33, Blackgate Prison is overcrowded with the excessive numbers of prisoners that Two-Face is sending in, and the inmates are starting to riot. Dick has to go to Blackgate alone, and he stops the riots without much trouble. In the meantime, Robin tracks down Two-Face, but he ends up captured alongside Harvey Kent, the man who got mixed up in the police records and the reason why Two-Face was released from prison. Now, Harvey Kent is the original name of Two-Face in his very first appearance in the Golden Age, before the writers decided to change his last name to Dent, and I feel like this Harvey Kent is a homage to that first appearance. The Batman writers did a lot of research into those early comic books for the Zero Hour crossover, where they brought back many elements of that age, including the chubby Alfred, the first car Batman used, and the classic Batmobile to replace the one that blew up in Knightfall. Now, I'm sure that the writers looked at the first Two-Face story in preparation for Prodigal and decided to include Harvey Kent, the original name of Two-Face, in the form of this poor helpless dude that Two-Face kidnaps and tries to kill. It's a very cool narrative Easter egg, but when Robin tries to save him, he is also captured, and now Dick has to save them both, in a similar situation to that of his first encounter with Two-Face. The final showdown happens in Detective Comics number 680, where Dick Grayson finally overcomes his past demons, defeats Two-Face and saves the day. Nevertheless, this is a bittersweet victory. This is a great moment for Dick, not only because he has conquered his fear of Two-Face at last, but also because he has proven that he is a good Batman. But he is also very conflicted, because even though he has proven to be good at the job, he knows that he will have to quit when Bruce returns. And once again, the imposter syndrome kicks in. Dick feels like this is not really his achievement. He feels that he only defeated Two-Face because he was wearing the mantle of the Bat, because he was pretending to be someone else. Dick has become great at being Batman, but he still has to work on being himself. This is the middle point of Prodigal, but it feels as if the story of Dick Grayson becoming Batman has reached its conclusion. Robin number 12 is the next chapter in Prodigal, but nothing relevant about Dick Grayson happens. In fact, this issue works more like a setup for the next story after Prodigal, something that we're gonna leave for the end of the video. Prodigal continues in Batman number 514, where Dick Grayson has to deal with the aftermath of the chaos that Two-Face created. There are 3 extremely dangerous killers on the loose, and Dick has to go look for them in the worst part of Gotham, a neighborhood known as the War Zone. Needless to say, this task is extremely difficult, and it challenges Dick Grayson's determination and skills beyond anything that he has faced so far. In fact, it is because of this mission that Dick finally realizes what it really means to be Batman, and why only Bruce Wayne can be the true Dark Knight. During this mission, Dick acknowledges that he doesn't feel the need to be Batman anymore. Maybe because he finally defeated Two-Face, or maybe it's some other reason. But the truth is that he only keeps doing it out of commitment. He doesn't want to be Batman anymore, but he made a promise, and now he has a duty to perform. In this story, he is literally crossing out a list of criminals he has to stop, as if it was a to-do list. Being Batman has become a chore for Dick, and by the end of this chapter, he realizes this. It took Dick a lot of effort, but he captured the dangerous killers, and yet there is still a lot more crimes out there. The night is not even over yet, and Dick is already exhausted and all he wants is to go home. He wonders how can one man keep up with this never-ending war, and finally realizes why Bruce is the only person who can be Batman. Only someone who is as driven and obsessed as Bruce Wayne is able to be the most effective version of Batman, and Dick has finally understood what it means to wear the mantle of the Bat. Batman is a symbol that gives Bruce Wayne a sense of purpose in his life, but for Dick Grayson, it's only a duty he has to perform. Bruce Wayne needs to be Batman, but Dick Grayson doesn't. All of this leads Dick to have an identity crisis, which is addressed in Shadow of the Bat number 34, where the Tallyman seeks revenge against Batman. Of course, the Tallyman wants revenge against Jean Paul Valley, but he doesn't know that there's a new Batman in town. Instead, Dick takes the fall for Azrael while wearing the mantle of Batman, the mantle that doesn't even belong to him. This encounter intensifies Dick's identity crisis, as he is taking the fall for two different people who are not him. But Dick has also another very important realization in this encounter. He is finally aware that all of this time, he has only been living the dream of another man. As Robin, he joined the dream of Bruce Wayne because he had no other choice. He was barely a kid who didn't know better and became an instrument for the mission of Batman. When he grew up, Dick realized that being Robin was not exactly what he really wanted, and that's why he became Nightwing. But now once again he was forced to live the dream of another man. He was forced to become Batman. Twice now he has become an instrument in someone else's mission, and this reinforces his current identity crisis. Dick is only able to overcome this crisis by thinking about the greater purpose that Batman as a symbol serves, and with a renewed sense of hope, he defeats the Tallyman and lives to fight another day. The final mission of the Prodigal story begins in Detective Comics 681, when a new killer appears in Gotham. Because of the witness's testimony and the MO of the killer, Dick suspects that Azrael is back in action, but he has no evidence to support this claim. Robin, on the other hand, thinks the killer is someone new and he goes to investigate on his own, showing that he is different from the previous Robins. He is not just a sidekick, he is his own hero. In the meantime, Dick goes looking for Jean Paul Valley and finally admits that he was wrong. Azrael is not a threat anymore, and Dick starts to feel the pressure of being Batman, and because of that he rushed to the wrong conclusion. Defeated, Dick returns to the Batcave to resume his investigations, but there he finds Bruce Wayne waiting for him. The final chapter of Prodigal happens in Robin number 13, where Dick and Bruce finally have a serious conversation, while Robin stops the killer. The Robin part of this issue is absolutely irrelevant, which makes me wonder why they decided to end the storyline in this issue. It makes the whole thing feel very anticlimactic. Nevertheless, the conversation between Dick and Bruce is one of the most heartfelt and emotional moments in the history of Batman. Dick Grayson needs to tell Bruce all that he has gone through during his time as Batman, about his insecurities, his self-doubts, and how he doesn't really feel appreciated. Dick is hurt because Bruce didn't think of him and instead chose a maniac to become Batman. Dick admits that he has considered he would one day be the next person to become Batman, but Bruce Wayne reveals that he doesn't want that. Bruce respects Dick's decision to be his own man, with his own identity, and that's why he left Azrael in charge. But the most important reason was because Bruce wanted to protect Dick from the dangers, the curse of being Batman. And that's also why he is back so soon. Being Batman is something of a suicide mission, and Bruce knows this. Dick Grayson became Batman only out of love for Bruce, and Bruce knows and he is aware that Dick would die to help him, but he would never ask him to do that. Bruce knows he handled the situation completely wrong, and he apologizes to Dick, remarking that things are usually this complicated between fathers and sons. The bond between Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson is finally restored, and after all those years apart, they finally come together once again. Dick Grayson has come back home. The return of the prodigal son. The word prodigal is most likely a reference to the parable of the prodigal son, a story from the Bible where a lost son returns home. Although the parable may not fit this storyline exactly, the intention of naming this story Prodigal is clear. Prodigal is a short storyline that only lasted for 3 months before Bruce Wayne returned. This is quite literally a very short time in terms of comics, and I feel like DC didn't allow themselves to explore all the possibilities of Dick Grayson as Batman. However, it is perfectly justified within the story, so it's not that big of a deal. If anything, Prodigal is only a confirmation of something that Nightwing said during Knightfall, a short dialogue that sums it all up quite nicely. He might have a successor, but he'll never have a replacement. At the end of Prodigal, Dick Grayson becomes Nightwing once again, and the final page suggests some big changes coming to the Batman comics, changes that are connected to the story in Robin number 12, changes that will be expanded and explored in the next storyline called Batman Troika. If you don't want to miss that one, then make sure to subscribe and ring the bell so that you get notified on every upload. As always, a big thanks to my patrons for the vote of confidence and trust in my work. I hope to make you all proud. Remember that you can always follow me on Twitter at Salazar. Friends, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.